welcome back to PoorBoy Disc Golf, and today we're going to be talking about the XCOM Beginner Pack, Starter Pack, whatever you want to call it. These come from XCOM Disc. It's a newer company that's kind of emerging. I bought one of their distance drivers and figured, what the heck, I'll go buy the Starter Pack, just to see. And it comes with 3 discs. The Binu. Now, if I'm butchering these names, don't think nothing of it. But I'm pretty sure that the putter is the Binu. Then you have the Griffin is the mid-range. And they also have another mid-range that you can buy separate. And then their Fairway Driver is the Helios. And then they also have a, I think the Zion is their distance driver. So all in all, they have 5 discs to their company. I've thrown 4 of them, so I still got to find the mid-range, so hopefully I can find that in the future. But I'll show some clips of me throwing them, and then I'll be back to talk about it. So let's get to it. Alright, so let's talk about the disc. You've seen how they threw all that good stuff. Let's start off with the Fairway Driver. For me, this is very, very understable. Flight numbers. Speed 6, glide 5, turn of -3, and a fade of 1. So it's pretty, it's a pretty understable. Now, it reminds me, if you're looking for a disc that you think that this might, pair up with, is maybe a slower Discraft Heat. It's the same thing except for the Heat's a higher speed and it has just a little bit more glide. But other than that, the Heat has more dome to it. This one does anyways, compared to this. This is more of a flatter top. But and then the Heat has a bigger rim. But other than that, the Helios is okay. You could probably do a flex shot with it. You can do some pretty cool stuff with it. For me, it hated the wind. It absolutely hates the wind. These are lightweight too. These are hitting like 160-ish, maybe even 150. I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't see what the weight was. But yeah. It comes in this plastic too that's pretty flexible. So these would probably be good during the winter. You see here's the profile of it. And I wrote the flight numbers on the back. You can see the rim. It's got this little lip around it. So that's pretty good. And it actually is a fairly deep, I'd say maybe a medium depth between the, underneath the rim. And the rim width is probably, it's probably right there in the mediums. It's not a thin, but it's not a thick one either. So it's overall, this is a pretty good, fairway driver for a beginner. When they say it's a beginner pack, it is beginner friendly. This one I would recommend for a lot of people, especially if you have a slower arm like me. You don't want to throw that hard or something. This would be a good utility disc for me if I was halfway up the fairway on a par 4 and I needed it to get right. This will do it. So let's move on to the mid-range, the Griffin. Now, this is where it gets weird because this is their flight numbers. Speed 5, glide of 4.1. Don't know why they got the 0.1 in there. I just left it at 4. And then the turn is a negative 2.4. I don't get it either. You know, why not 2.5 or just round it up to, or just get it down to 2. And the fade is 0. You know, got it wrote right there. This is what it looks like on the back. It's got this pretty beefy bead around it. As you can tell, it's pretty deep though. It's a lot deeper than the Fairway Driver. So you can get your hand all the way in there. If you need a fan grip, you know, you can get it in there. As far as the width, you know, it's a little on the small side. So it helps, you know, get that extra flick at the end. Here's the profile of it. So it's got a pretty good dome on it, you know. And like I said, it's made out of that same material, so it can flex. So, you know, it's a good one. Now this one was more stable for me. It shouldn't have been. It should have been understable, but I guess the way I was throwing it and everything, it did its job. Now I would, you know, if I was putting it close to something, I would say it was close to the fuse. You know, I'll just put it that, you know, because they're pretty similar, you know. You can see it. You know, they're pretty similar as far as the, you know, the width of the rim and everything, the depth. You know, it's pretty close. So if you, you know, if you're thinking about like, well, what disc would the Griffin come closest to? I'd say a fuse. You know, there's a few of them that are different. Let's talk about the putter. Now I kind of like this putter. It's a weird one. The Benu, I hope I'm saying that right, is it's a weird putter, and it's got that same plastic, you know. But this one doesn't flex upwards, more downwards than the others. So here's the flight numbers: speed 3, glide 5, turn of -1, and a fade of 0. So it's pretty stable to understable. I could get this to go either way for me. I liked it because I could actually put it straight. This is the profile of it. So it's got a pretty good dome on it. It's pretty rounded too at the edge. I really don't have a disc that I think matches it. Maybe a more stable Deputy, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't have a bead in the end, so it's beadless. It's got a deep, it's the deepest rim of all of them, you know, and the width is pretty small, but the depth of it, you know, you can see I could put my whole fingers in there, get plenty of grip to that power shot. Fan grip, you know, I could get all 3 fingers in there, no problem. My pinky is almost up to the first joint, you know, it's perfect. I really like the plastic. I like the feel on all these too. The feel is more of a grippier plastic. With that being said, these will get dirty pretty fast because they have that static cling to them, and they will scuff up pretty fast. Just throwing these out there one time, and they're already looking pretty scuffed, but oh well, you know. These would be good, you know, I say that these discs would be really good for a beginner. You know, I'm trying to get out there. I'm trying to get these smaller new brands, and this one's actually fairly good. Now I didn't like this Fairway Driver as much. For me, it was just too understable. Maybe it's because it wasn't a higher speed, and since it was a lower speed, you know, I would turn it over every single time, except for the last shot where I just barely threw it, and I even had to round it, you know, try to get it to, you know, try to get it some hyzer so it would stay, you know, go straight and then finish to the left. But yeah, even then it's still, you know, it hates the wind. You know, all these, you know, the putter in the mid-range did okay in the wind, but, you know, they're still light. I mean, these, like, you compare the weights, you know, these are good, you know, 10 grams lighter than most discs. but they're all PDGA approved, you know. So if you got a beginner out there, or you got a noodle arm and you need something, you know, go pick you up an XCOM starter pack. You know, it's well worth the money, you know, and they're cheap. You know, it was only like, you know, it's the same price as most of them. It's like $20-something for the set. And it's well worth it, you know. And with that being said, this is PoorBoy reminding you to play the sport and grow the sport that is disc golf. Thanks for watching.